Hey, this is Adam Brewer with RK Neal, and today we're going to be discussing the Verve Management Console, in particular how easy it is to set up and then initiate actions from this single pane. For those of you that aren't familiar with what the Verve Security Center is, I highly encourage you to check out a previous video tutorial that we have uploaded to our YouTube channel. As a quick refresher, the Verve Security Center is a centralized security suite that consolidates multiple technologies into a single location. And that single location is what we refer to as the Verve Management Console. Basically, we wanted our users to have a single location to go and initiate everyday tasks, to generate reports, as well as to be able to view system statuses. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and log in to the Verve Management Console. And once we get logged in, you're going to see our landing page. But again, that's not the focus of this particular video tutorial. I'm going to go up here and select this Actions tab and then the Actions button. Now I have previously built a very brief inventory tree, but you'll see that we have one power plant. Under that power plant we've got two units. Unit 1 is Ovation, Unit 2 is ABB, and under the Ovation vendor profile I've got a couple of available endpoints. But to the right of that, you're going to see that we currently don't have any actions, and so that's what we're going to do for today's video tutorials. We're going to set up a couple different actions and then execute those actions. I'll go ahead and right click and select the new action option. Now I'm given this pop-up, and here is basically where I can select the action type as well as when I want this to be deployed. For the action name, we're first going to focus on patches, so I'm just going to call it test patch. I do have to give it a description, and again we're going to call it test patch. And then I'm going to go over here to this drop down and select the patching action type. Before we get to the patching, I just want to talk a little bit about the deployment schedule. Basically, as a user, this gives me control over when I want that action to execute. So I can have that particular action start on a particular date and time, as well as I can have that particular action end on a particular date and time. If I don't want to worry about that, but I want it to run on a specific day of the week, I can select Sunday, and then every Sunday this particular action is going to execute. If this action fails, but I want it to retry a certain number of times, I'm also given the option to do that. And then I can also even select if I want it to wait, and then select how many hours in between attempts. I do want to highlight one more option here because this is very important when we're talking about patching. If I deploy a patch but I want to wait until that particular computer has been rebooted for that patch to be applied, I have the control to do that, and I would do that here. One thing to note, if I don't select any options within this deployment schedule, what it's going to do by default is it's going to make that action available to me immediately. And for this particular video tutorial, that's what I want. So we're not going to select anything. I am going to go up here and select this patching tab, and you're going to see now I have a list of all of the available patches. I can select multiple patches and security updates, or I can just apply and select one particular patch or security update. And for the sake of time, we're just going to select one. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. And now what you're going to see is now I have an available action to me. One thing that is worth noting over here in the inventory tree, I can apply this action to one specific endpoint, or depending upon what level of the inventory hierarchy I have selected, I can apply it to everything below. So if I select Ovation, in this particular case, it's going to apply it to the two endpoints below that Ovation level. Again, we're going to just worry about one particular endpoint for the sake of time. So we've got our endpoint selected, and now I am simply going to drag and drop, and that is going to execute and initiate this particular action. And in a couple of moments, we're going to get some feedback at the bottom that's going to basically give us our status. But while we're waiting on that to occur, again, I'm going to go ahead and create another action just so you can see that it's done in the exact same manner. So we have the same pop-up that we had earlier. Now we're going to worry about backups, and I'll talk about that more in just a moment. We'll go ahead and fill out our action name as well as our description. And now, instead of selecting patching, over here under action type, we're going to select backup. Now, one thing you will notice right away is that we have two different types of backups. We have our general backup, which focuses and is geared specifically toward folders and files. And then we have full image backup. So if we actually want to capture an entire endpoint for disaster recovery efforts, we have the ability to do that. But again, for the sake of time, we're just going to worry about the general backup. And now, instead of having the patching tab highlighted, we have our backup tab highlighted. Again, you'll notice that the deployment schedule is the exact same window pane that we had earlier. Now under backup though, I have a couple different options. I have the ability to select the type of backup that I want. Do I want it to be full, incremental, or differential? And then do I want to apply any kind of compression standards? We talked about in our previous video tutorial that we do have the ability to throttle bandwidth when it comes to backups, and this is where you would do that. Now I'm also given the ability to exclude or include certain folders and files, and for this particular demo I'm not going to worry about excluding any folders or files, but I do want to include a particular test folder. So we're going to go ahead and select include. It gives me a snapshot of my computer. I'm going to select the C drive. We're going to select this test folder and go ahead and hit OK. And now you'll see that I have another action available to me. We're going to apply it to the same particular endpoint. So we've already got it selected, and I will simply drag and drop, and it's going to go ahead and execute that action in just a moment. And in the exact same manner as the patching, I will also have feedback at the bottom in just a couple of minutes. So hopefully that gives you a quick recap of just how simple it is to set up as well as initiate actions within our Verve Management Console. I encourage you to continue to check out additional videos that we will be uploading to our YouTube channel. Thank you.